Okay, so I have with me the Symphonium Giant. This is a $700 IEM with a single DD plus BA driver setup. It's quite an interesting IEM as its creators describe it as an experiment in how warm they could make an IEM before it got too warm for them. Like all Symphonium IEMs, it's made in a full metal shell. The fit is actually really good. It's not big and chunky like many IEMs, which is something I really appreciate. The nozzle is large at 6.6 millimeters. However, I did not feel it at all. It was only at the end when I measured it that I found out. So yeah, I have no complaints whatsoever with the comfort. So here's the frequency response graph. As you can see, this is absolutely not a neutral IEM. This is a very bassy IEM. The bass does bleed into the lower mids, and there's an upper mids recession at 3 kHz to pull vocals back. However, it's not completely buried because as you can see, there's some energy flanking it at 1 to 2 kHz and then at 5 to 8 kHz. As for the treble, obviously there's that upper treble peak, and that's what stands out the most. But because it's a narrow band, it won't make the Giant an overall bright IEM. It's just peaky and will depend on how it interacts with your music. Now speaking of music, when I have the Giant in my ears, the bass is a double-edged sword. It's big and fun, but it has this rounded, somewhat boomy quality to it that can make quick bass guitar lines feel like they're plodding along. The mid-range is saturated with warmth. At first listen, there's a chance that you might find it bloated, though your brain does adapt to it a little bit after a few tracks. Vocals don't completely disappear, but they're definitely relaxed. Snare drums lose the sharp crack of the beater head and focus more on its body, while screaming electric guitar lines end up sounding a bit more like rhythm guitar sections. Treble is interesting. Yes, there's a big upper treble peak that can be piercing at times, especially on rock and metal tracks with the hats and cymbals. But because the Giant is such a warm IEM, that lower treble elevation actually helps out to balance its sound by providing vocals with that extra little boost of clarity as needed. As for those perceived technicalities, the Giant is sufficient. Soundstage is alright, it kind of stretches to the edges of my ears and doesn't feel like it's too in your head. There's decent imaging and layering, and it feels like there's some depth to the stage rather than kind of just having the music right in front of your eyes. The Giant kind of reminds me of a concert stadium sound, but in an IEM. The low end is dense and filled in, kind of like boomy subwoofers meant to move a crowd. Clarity is a little buried and treble is somewhat erratic, but despite this coloration, I do find the Giant can be kind of fun. Its bass does take me by surprise sometimes with how massive it sounds on certain tracks. The genres that it works best on are pop, especially female vocalists, bossa nova, or acoustic instrumentals, as they all play to the Giant's strengths while hiding some of its weaknesses. So should you buy the Giant? Maybe. The biggest problem I see with the Giant is that it just doesn't have a clear-cut audience. Its sound signature is sort of an in-between of a few different preferences, and it kind of pains me to say this because I do like experimental tunings and I think this hobby kind of needs more of that. But I will say that I did enjoy the Giant more than I initially thought I would, and for me I guess that's sort of the ultimate test, right? So while I definitely would not be giving this a straight recommendation, especially if it's your first or second IEM, I do think that it's worth trying at a shop if you're looking for something a little bit out of the ordinary and you're trying to build out a collection. You can see my full review for more details.